Welcome back. This is week 7. And in this week, she is going to be getting a bunch more of her rise. It got quite cold, and so there's our bonfire that we like to have during the day. And I'm going to do something a little different this week, and I'm going to be quiet for this first part and let you kind of enjoy the banter that we have with our assistant trainer, Ashen, and kind of what it looks like when we work together. Anything? Yeah? She looks pretty good.
I call por si do something.
That'll warm you up.
Eh?
It'll warm you up.
I don't think so. She just crushed my tendons. She really sticky side.
That is awfully annoying.
Yes.
Yeah, she don't get it. You using the side. Or you tuck in the back.
No.
Now I go teach you the move the heights. Because that very harsh.
Ashen will ride her.
Eh?
I will.
No. I say forget I can start pushing around.
No.
I can ride it, but I'm not ready. I call.
I'll do it.
Okay? It's here.
She's like, I'll do it.
Okay. You can
As
do
long
it.
as you don't think she's gonna buck.
We can see.
Reassuring.
If anything, she might like grab her ash and scooch forward.
I need to go find my helmet.
That's a good idea. I hope that you enjoyed that. We certainly do have a lot of fun together. Someone had made a comment that my voice was really muffled, and I make these videos mostly on my cell phone because I'm just usually I'm not home long enough to sit down and record them on the computer. And my mic on my cell phone is just caked with dirt. I tried cleaning it, tried recording it, still didn't work. So I'm wearing headphones and hoping to use the mic on the headphones. So this is her first like official solo ride. I can see Ashen kind of kicking her and then Isidro guiding her. I think this is a really great transition where we started excuse me, with a rider on top and Isidro lunging and doing most of the cues. And then now we're transitioning to there's no lunge line, a rider up, and the rider is doing most of the cues and just being supported by the handler on the ground. So when she gets confused a little bit about the forward cue, Isidro can reinforce it from the ground, which she's very familiar with and understands. So it's just a really nice way to smoothly transition to not create undue stress and potentially trauma of like trying to cowboy them and get them to go forward. And that works for some people. It doesn't really work for us. We're getting a little up there in age, and we really don't want to cowboy anything. We don't bounce like we used to, so we try to be even more thorough. I believe there's some great big trainer. I'm not sure if it was Tom Dorrance or Buck Brannaman or one of those guys that said that, as you get older, your groundwork gets better, or as you get bucked off by more horses or something like that, that your groundwork gets better. And it's really quite true. So here she changed direction, and you could see she's a little unsure. And Ash is not like freaking out up there, giving her tons of pressure. She's just bouncing with her legs a little bit. She's also clicking. And when she just kind of is like, I don't know, then she gets the support from the ground to clarify what is being asked of her. Excuse me. I like how she keeps checking in with Isidro. She's like, this is what you want me to do? Are you sure? And then Ashen's the one that's really kind of guiding her. And this just makes it easier for when there's nobody on the ground in the middle, that she will understand, what those cues are. They translate. We use the same verbal cues under saddle that we do on the ground. That's really important. So I don't like to do things, if this works for other people, that's great. It does not work for me. When you say the word of the gait that you want in lunging, like people go canter and trot and all that kind of stuff. For me, that doesn't translate under saddle well. I can't really use that in a show environment. And I want to simplify my language so that it is the same across all modalities of how I want to ride this horse or work with this horse. So the groundwork cues, we use clicking and kissing. They're very simple cues, and I can very easily sort of use them in a show in a quiet way and not an obvious way if necessary. And then eventually I can transition to not maybe needing a verbal cue as much under saddle. But yeah, I don't want to introduce so many things that I can't use under saddle on the ground. The ground was really meant to make things easier under saddle so that we don't have to fight with them or confuse them or stress them. So if you have ever wondered why I don't use those sort of verbal cues on the ground, and that is why. Everything that we do, we do for a reason. I do have a reason that has been well thought out. I am more than happy to change how we do things if it makes logical sense and there's another good reason for it. So I really love how Ashen is giving her reassurance up there. And something else that's really important is that you don't want to just sit still. You want to move around. And if you noticed, if you watched her ride, she's kind of wiggling around up there and letting her know all the time that she's up there. What can happen is they can kind of get distracted and forget that you're up there. Then when you do move, they get surprised that you're up there. So be really careful about being too still, don't creep so much and be too still and too, or not too obvious. You want to make sure they know that you're up there all the time until they get quite a bit more broke. So here she is finally with her first true solo ride that has no ground person. You can see Isidro has a whip, a dressage whip in his hand, and that's just to kind of help let her know, it's an extension of his arm, let her know what it is that he is wanting. She is quite familiar with whips from her groundwork. She knows when somebody taps her butt that she's supposed to move away and things like that. And so it translates really well under saddle. You notice that he is not wearing spurs. Last thing we want on a green horse like this is if they do something a little squirrely, we actually jab them with a spur, and then it can make the problem quite a bit worse. There are horse trainers that will say, oh, you should be able to control your legs. Well, when they're doing something pretty insane, it can be very hard when you're trying not to die. So better to just not have them. And then we introduce them later. I am not anti-spur. I'm actually very pro-spur because I think you can give very, very minute, refined cues with them. And that's really what they're for. So it's quite nice on a nice broke horse that you can just give them little tiny cues with that. Or if you need to reinforce something or understanding of something, we do use very dull spurs. But yeah, we do use them because it's just a refining aid. It is not a cruel aid. If we have issues with going forward and things like that, we go back to the stick here. And it was really great because I did a clinic with Tick Maynard this summer or spring. I'm not quite sure. I can't remember when. But he really kind of reinforced using the stick, and it's just nice to get reminders from great horsemen and horsewomen of things that you already know, but maybe you need to be told because you forgot or you get in these kind of bad habits. And I was getting into a very bad habit of using my spur too much. And so I've transitioned to using the whip when I need, like he just did, like a little tap here, to when I need to clarify what it is that I am wanting, and then go back to the spur. The spur should be the refining aid, not the reinforcer necessarily. If you're getting to that point, you can reinforce it like maybe once, but if you're nagging and getting to the point you're using them all the time for that, definitely need to take a step back. So I highly recommend that everybody gets lessons, everybody gets people watching them, take clinics. It doesn't matter if you've been doing this for 50 years, everyone can learn. I just picked up a really cool technique this past weekend. We're at the Equus Film and Arts Festival in Albuquerque, and there were some clinicians working, and one of them borrowed this mare, and we'll see that in next. Was she good today for her saddling? But picked up a really cool technique, so I can share that with you guys. So that was fantastic. He's doing a lot, like he just tightened his cinch there and he's back up on her. And this, I think when you are doing these first rides, getting on and off quite a bit is
nice
fantastic. That can be probably one of the most dangerous things you can do is when they forget that you're up there and you get off and they spook. And so during the ride, if you can get on and off and start and restart, it's almost like you're getting, 3 rides in 1 ride. Because of that. So
Gotta put a
really good
sleazy
thing
on her at night.
that a sitter does a lot is he'll
Just
get on and
to
off and
face
then
Harry.
go again and then get on and off and then go again throughout the session. It also kind of helps with that when you get off and you're done, that they are thinking, oh my, if I can get you off, then we're done. And so you definitely don't want that in their mind. But if they're really like hating being ridden that bad, then maybe you need to go back and see what's causing that. Her turning is going great. I guess we're having a little conversation there, and I love it. See how he's just kind of moving around and doing, and she's just not bothered by that. It's really not. It's really interesting. Like she's afraid, but she's not spooky. She doesn't like spook. It's like there can be a tarp, and she's just like, okay, whatever. She's more worried about something touching her right side, so she's constantly checking over there. So I am actually going to be booking a animal communicator appointment so that I can maybe find out a little bit more about what's bothering her on that side, what's bothering her when she gets cinched up, because that also bothers her, and not in a cranky, ulcery way, but more in a like blow up, freak out, oh my God, periodically when the saddle is first put on and cinched up. And not when a person's there. It's when we leave and walk away, which is very interesting. If we stay next to her, she won't do it. So it's very interesting and it's very intermittent. Not the first horse that I've had do that, but if I can have any sort of way to figure a horse out that I will, why they're doing what they're doing, any insight, I will use any method, any technique. I don't care how woo-woo it is, to see if I can help this horse. And it has been quite successful for us in the past to use an animal communicator. So we'll check that out. Thanks for watching.